Hello, Deanna here, and thanks so much for being here. All right, I'm going to get right into this one. It is the fourth book of a very cool series that I have been reading and reviewing on this channel. Check out some of my other videos. I'll leave them posted where I can. But this video today is a review of The Battle of the Labyrinth, the fourth book in the Percy Jackson series. So this one, you can see I had so many different thoughts, so many points that I was annotating and maybe had notes or just lines that I really appreciated or things that I thought, oh, that's going to be something, and that's this one. I really went to town on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and read out a bit of a summary of The Battle of the Labyrinth. The fourth novel of the Percy Jackson series finds Percy at yet another new school, but this one is different. Though being attacked by monsters is the same, Percy returns to camp and discovers that Mr. D is gone and a mysterious stranger takes his place. A stranger that Percy doesn't trust. However, before he can stick around to find out more, he's off on yet another quest. This one led by Annabeth with a very ominous prophecy. They must venture into the dangerous labyrinth, a place so confusing that even the inventor himself is rumored to have trouble navigating it. Of course, the inventor is long dead, oh right? Only one way for Percy and his friends to find out. I'm going to put, again, a spoiler alert. If you have not read any of the other books in this series, there may be some spoilers that happen. Even that intro might have been a bit of a spoiler. You have to read the other books before you read this one because there's a lot that leads up to it, a lot going on. So check out the other books before you try to read this one, unless you're a rebel, then have at it. But if you don't want to be spoiled, just be warned that you might be spoiled. But with that, we're going to go ahead and get into some of my thoughts on the Battle of the Labyrinth. So I tend to kind of put some thoughts down on what do I think about the book, and this one just was so much. It was so much that I couldn't even put it all into words. And to even just say it to you, I'm doing a video here trying to share my thoughts, but there's just so much. This, as I said, I annotated this, and all of the yellow are where monsters show up, and all of the green is different parts where it's like a plot point or maybe some kind of like something that's going to trigger into what's going to happen in the plot. And then I also did some summaries of each chapter. Every 100 pages I was doing a summary too. So I really went ham with this book. I really got in because I found that this one was probably the most involved, I think. This was the one that had so much is converging on this one. There's so much of the different things going on, the different gods and goddesses, the different myths happening. There's just so much that builds into this book. It's as twisty and turny as the labyrinth itself. Like every few little bit there was a monster to fight. Every little bit there was something happening with the bad guys gathering forces, with just ways of different characters coming back and making appearances, and the way that he tied it all together in this book, I just found it so exciting. It was so interesting, and there was just so much to enjoy about this book. And I had so much fun reading this book and making some predictions and putting in some of my thoughts and just seeing where the book went. So it's really hard to give a spoiler-free review because, like I said, there's just so much from other books that are coming up to this point. We've got what's going on with Luke, what's going on with Kronos, what's going on with like the Olympians and the prophecy, this great big prophecy that still continues to hang over Percy's head. And then when Annabeth gets a prophecy that she won't quite share at all, it was just like, what is going on and what does it all mean? And Rick does such a great job at like sprinkling little bits that it's like almost everything he puts in his books is so important and it all ties together. Like he's not going to mention something in his book unless it comes out later or unless it somehow ties into something happening. So there was so many times when I was just like underlining like, yep, that's going to be something, or yep, that's something that's coming. And it was so right. But it was so right in such a fun way. It's not like it gets boring and you're just like, okay, here's another monster, or here's like the same thing. Like, no, it's like, okay, Percy's got his back up against the wall. Like, what's gonna happen? And the great thing about Percy is he's a flawed character in the way that he is always looking out for others. It even, I think, is mentioned, and that's one of his flaws, is that he is constantly putting others before himself. He's such a good character in that he really cares about his friends and his loved ones, that he's always looking out for them. And sometimes he'll barrel ahead, you know, just trying to save them and things. So he sometimes has to face that a lot, and he has to kind of figure out how to navigate like a twisting, turning maze. Like, it's just like, how is he going to figure it out? And I love seeing the character arc that he's going through. I mean, he started in the beginning of the series as such a young boy that was very against authority and very like unsure of himself, but yet always had a lot of like anger brewing under the surface, and he had a lot of things that he had to deal with. And yet we continue to see him almost using some of those in ways where it's beginning to soften him in a way, but he's learning. He's learned from the first book until this one, and he continues to learn. He still has a lot to learn, I'm sure, because this is not the last of the series. We still got one more book to go, but he has continued to learn, and he's continued to be someone who continues to care about the underdog and care about his friends and his family. So we will see how that continues to go, because I'm worried that Kronos is going to try to use that against him in the final book in some way. But the great thing about Percy is he's not really one to try to compromise his morals. So let's hope that he continues to be the advocator and be the good guy he is. And even though he might not always be able to have everything perfect, he somehow finds a way. And that's what's kind of beautiful about him in this maze, is that he might not always find the way on his own, but with his friends and with his smarts and just with his experience, he's able to navigate to find a way through the series. And I love that in this series. So I absolutely love this one. I had a lot of fun reading it. It was a really good one. It was one, again, like I said, that there was just so much happening that sometimes it was just like, oh my goodness, like, what is happening? Like, there's just so much. And then there was certain myths that were noted in this that I absolutely loved. I love Rick. That like, these are real myths that have been out there, that have been shared for like centuries. And he uses them in such wonderful ways to make this story really come alive. And sometimes it's like, okay, yeah, I've heard that myth, I know kind of what happens, but you still see it written into the story or on the page. It still can like really grip your heart, or it can just like make you really excited, or like get you like, oh my god, like what's happening? And that's what I love about Rick's writing. I think it is really good, and it's really a big adventure anytime you're reading one of his books. So I love it. It was another 5-star for me. This whole series is just going to be a 5-star. I'm really hoping he slams that last book out of the park, because so far I have absolutely enjoyed every single book, and I'm going to be on to the last and final book soon. So let's hope it still continues to be just as exciting. And I know there's so many things that have happened in here. He left it in such a moment where you're kind of like, what is going on and what's next? And it's just, it was a bit of a cliffhanger a little bit, but just in a way where you're just like, okay, what's happening and what's going on in the next book? Nothing too scary about the end, but something like, okay, what's going on? What's going on? So I absolutely love this one. He writes characters so well too. I mean, I absolutely continue to love Tyson. Anytime I see Tyson, I just absolutely love him so much. I love Grover too. I love the dynamic that Percy has with the different people that he meets. And again, like I said, I love that he always cares about people and he's always trying to do well by people and he's always looking out for others. And I think it's really well done in this book. So 5 stars for me. I absolutely loved it. Get your hands on the Percy Jackson series. If you haven't read it, what are you doing? Don't be a fool like I was. I waited years and years and I'm just now reading it and I just love every bit of it. So if you can get your hands on it, read the Percy Jackson. It's a good read. It's really fun. Well, that's going to be it for me. So the next one in this series is going to be the final book. It is The Last Olympian. So I am currently already reading it. I'm already partway through. So I already have a lot of thoughts and I will be back with a video with my final thoughts on The Last Olympian. And then I will have a video that's going to take all of it together and just give a bit more spoiler thoughts, because right now it's really hard not to spoil everything. I don't want to spoil, but I just want to say love it. But I'm going to come back with a video, especially with like the annotating I've done, where I'm just going to go through and share more of my laid out thoughts. How I will do that, not quite sure yet, but if you want to see that, let me know. I'd love to hear it, how maybe even you want me to do that, whether you just want me to go line by line and show you every place that I underlined and highlighted and all my notes, or whether you just want me to compile them all and make a video. Like, I'd love to hear it. I'm still debating about it because I just really want to talk about some of the spoilery like elements of this book and just Rick's writing and how inspired I am with his writing and how much I can see how he does such a good job writing it all and making this series so incredibly engaging and also so incredible with how he wraps everything together. So I'm geeking out for the Percy Jackson series. So that's it. Okay, I promise that's it. This is the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, give me a like. I appreciate it. All that fun stuff. And I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day, night, evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Thank you so much for being here. Take care of yourself, and you will see me next time. Bye!